An inspiration for change. A company in Sri Lanka had a major layoff. The company announced the employees of a probable layoff due to financial crisis. Some didn't take it seriously. Some petitioned to the management on security of jobs. Some started to find new jobs. Some started to find financial security methods. This story indicates different people act differently towards change. Some like the way things are. Some move on easily. Some adapt change slowly. It reminded us a story. Who Moved My Cheese? Who Moved My Cheese is a story about change that takes place in a maze, where four amazing characters look for cheese. Cheese being a metaphor for what we want to have in life, whether it is a job, a relationship, money, a big house, freedom, health, recognition, or even an activity like jogging or golf. The story has four characters: two little people, Hem and Ho, two mice, Sniff and Scurry. They lived in a maze. Every morning they would put their running shoes and run to the maze to find cheese. The mice were not advanced as the two little people. They basically relied on their senses to find cheese. When they smelled cheese, they didn't think of it. They just ran towards the smell and often ended in wrong ways, but they never gave up. The two little people were more advanced, so they would think of what they were doing. So they were moving slowly. After much trial and error for Sniff and Scurry and much thoughtful approach on the two little people, all of them arrived in a cheese station C, which was filled with delicious looking cheese. Sniff and Scurry were instinct-led, so they removed their running shoes and tied it around their necks in case they wanted to move quickly. Unlike them, Hem and Ho threw their shoes away and began enjoying their cheese. Every morning, the two mice ran to the cheese station C early. Before they started to enjoy the cheese, they always inspected around to see whether there is any change. Hem and Ho, on the other hand, woke up late and came leisurely to the cheese station. They never inspected, they just enjoyed their cheese. But one day, when the mice came early, they found all the cheese in cheese station C gone. They were not surprised because they have been inspecting and they anticipated it. So they put on their running shoes, which was around their necks, and joyfully started back to the maze to find new cheese. Hem and Ho returned much later in the day and was utterly shocked to find the cheese station empty. Hem was so disappointed he started muttering, "Who moved my cheese? Who moved my cheese?" and was pacing back and forth angrily, while Ho just started to empty space with a long face. They went home that day with empty stomachs and returned the next day expecting their cheese would be there. But it was not there. For days the two little people followed this routine. They grew weaker and was more distressed. After a while, Ho realized the cheese is not going to come back and they need to move forward. He knew that they have to explore the unknown to find new cheese to stay alive. So he tried to explain it to him, who was so absorbed in thinking about his old cheese and he didn't want to leave. He said, "Who knows what's there in the maze? Here it's much comfortable. If we wait long enough, they might put the cheese back." But Ho knew that not going to happen, so he left the cheese station C and moved in the maze. He was really afraid. At first he wanted to turn back, but he knew he must go on. So when he was going through the maze, he stopped to write down ideas that came into his mind. He thought that would keep him going, as well as if Hem ever decided to come, Hem would find the way that he has followed. With time, he became more enthusiastic, more energetic, and he began to see that leaving his fear for change behind has done him good. After a while, he came to another empty cheese station, but he has begun to accept the need to change, so he was not unhappy. Ho saw some cheese pieces left behind and ate them gratefully. Then he thought of his friend and went back to find him with some pieces of cheese. Him was still at cheese station C, waiting for them to put the cheese back. Ho gave him cheese he bought, but Hem refused. Hem wanted his old cheese back. Feeling sad for his friend but knowing that he would not move on, Hem started back to the maze leaving Hem behind. After some time, the day Ho's wanted so long came. He found a cheese station N, the biggest he had ever seen. The two mice were already there and were quite big and plump. Ho ran to the cheese and began to enjoy his cheese. But this time he kept his running shoes nearby, did daily inspection on the cheese because he knew things would change and he needed to be ready for that. Now we see what the story implicates.
The story implicates that there are different types of people who react to change in different ways. The mice were quick to change because they expected it. Sniff sniffs out change early before others are aware of it. Scurry sees what is needed and takes actions immediately. Hem never expected change, wished change wasn't happening. Denial and resistance to change, as he feared it'll lead to worse, made him to suffer consequences. Ho, on the other hand, laughed at himself for not wanting to change and kept exploring on opportunities. He learned to change and adapt when he sees changing leads to something better. What we can learn: change happens. They keep moving the cheese. Anticipate change. Get ready for the cheese to move. Instead of waiting for a wave of change to come and hit when you least expect it, keep a keen eye out for change. Follow industry trends, both locally and globally. Make sure you start innovating systems and processes that are in place. Monitor change. Smell the cheese often so you know when it is getting old. Anticipate change. Gives you an insight into exactly when you need to abandon the old and switch to the new. This will help you realize when your goals, way of working, communication, and technology have become obsolete and stale. Adapt to change quickly. The quicker you let go of old cheese, the sooner you can enjoy new cheese. The quicker you adapt to change and stop missing old habit, the more effective you can get in new arena. Enjoy change, savor the adventure, and enjoy the taste of new cheese. This message urges one to enjoy the process of change and the place where you have reached now. This positivity will increase the effectiveness of you, your employees, and your entire organization. Be ready to change quickly and enjoy it again. They keep moving the cheese. Never get too comfortable and complacent about anything. Repeat the entire exercise since change is permanent. Change and win. Move with the cheese. Once you move on to a fresher way of doing things, you can leave any insecurities behind and have fun staying ahead of the pack. This way can make you beat the competitors and get there first. If we go back to the company layoff, some people resist change because they were trying to stick to their comfort zone. They thought change would not happen to them. Some tried to slow down the change because they were trying to protect their comfort zone. Some people started to look for new jobs, financial stability, so they could face the change positively and they have best chances of survival. What if it happens to me? We have to remember that everything can be changed at any time. Some may we have been expecting, but we have to be ready for the unexpected too. We as intellectual beings have to be conscious about how we use our intellectual capabilities in the face of change. How we productively catch on to opportunities coming our way as changes will define our future ultimately. Admit the fear of change, then it will be easy for change as we can understand the denial. We don't change our beliefs often unless we are forced to. But our old beliefs might very well not serve us as environment around us is always in change, and we also need to be flexibly adapting to it to survive.